Indiana Fever front office is about to do another roster overhaul for the 2026 WNBA season.
You won't believe what just happened in Indiana. 8 players, gone, just like that. Poof, vanished from the Fever roster overnight. And no, this isn't some boring off-season shuffle you scroll past. It's chaos. Absolute chaos. What could possibly drive a professional sports team to wipe out almost half their squad in one brutal move? Was it a master plan, a desperate power play, or pure, unfiltered panic? Fans are losing it online. Social media exploded within minutes. What is going on? They screamed. Who's next? Who even stays? And the questions don't stop there. Because behind those locker room doors, things were far messier than anyone imagined. Egos clashing, secret meetings, and yes, whispers of major drama that nobody was supposed to hear. Sources say tensions had been boiling for months, but no one thought it would erupt like this. Coaches scrambling, agents panicking, and one thing is crystal clear, this isn't just basketball anymore. This is a full-blown revolution. A roster purge that has turned the Indiana Fever into the league's most talked about, most controversial team overnight. So grab your popcorn, because what comes next will shock you, and the real story behind these 8 cuts is juicier than you ever imagined.
I believe a lot of players will be exiting the building like Elvis, bruh. They gotta get the hell out of Dodge. Now, I'm telling you right now, I believe more than half of this team is gonna leave. I just gotta keep it real. A lot of players is gonna leave. I believe a few big names is probably gonna leave. And more importantly, we need to get the ball back.
You thought the Indiana Fever offseason was going to be boring? Think again. 8 players, gone. Just like that, vanished into thin air. And trust me, this isn't your casual roster tweak. No, no, no. This is the kind of move that sends shockwaves through the entire WNBA. Coaches whispering in hallways, agents panicking, fans exploding online, and social media. Yeah, it broke. Hashtags trending like wildfire. Hashtag Fever Purge. Hashtag Clark Era. Hashtag Roster Chaos. People are asking the same question over and over. Why now? Why 8 players at once? And the answer, well, that's where things get juicy. Sources close to the team, names we can't reveal for obvious reasons, claim that tensions had been simmering for months. Months of whispers, secret arguments, and yes, outright drama behind those closed doors. The front office reportedly reached a breaking point. They said, enough is enough. Mediocrity ends here. And honestly, who can blame them? When your season ends abruptly, your team collapses under injuries, and your star player, Caitlin Clark, is forced to play in a system that doesn't fit her style, something has to give. Something massive. Let's break it down. Caitlin Clark isn't just any player. She's the league's biggest star, the marketing juggernaut, the one who can fill seats, boost TV ratings, and basically turn the Fever from an afterthought into headline news overnight. But here's the kicker, the team wasn't built for her. Not even close. Structured, rigid playbooks, endless sets, slow ball movement. Sound familiar? That's exactly what insiders say has been choking the team all season. Clark, the maestro, forced to operate within boundaries that make a free spirit feel like a caged bird. And that frustration? Oh, it was visible. If you watched closely, you could see it in her hesitations, the way she glanced toward the bench, the split-second moments where instinct got replaced by caution. Meanwhile, the coaching staff, led by Stephanie White, was apparently running a million different experiments. Off-ball sets, rotations that made zero sense, and strategies that even veteran players admitted just didn't fit. Internal sources describe locker room tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Arguments over minutes, complaints about conditioning programs, frustration over injuries. And as the losses piled up, whispers turned into urgent memos, phone calls, and frantic meetings in the wee hours of the morning. By the time elimination came, management had already made up its mind. Radical change was non-negotiable. 8 players were told they wouldn't be coming back. No explanations, no soft landing, just, thank you, good luck, and poof. Names like Natasha Howard, Bree Hall, Shea Petty, Lexi Hull, Sydney Colson, Ariel Powers, Kadisha Stokes, and Chloe BBY were all part of the purge. Veterans, young guns, developmental projects, gone. And let me tell you, fans went ballistic. Social media threads exploded, message boards lit up, and analysts debated non-stop whether this was genius or chaos incarnate. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about basketball performance. Oh no, this is about power, ego, influence, control. Sources reveal that the relationship between Stephanie White and the front office had quietly deteriorated over months. Disagreements about how the offense should run, arguments about rotations, philosophical clashes over whether the team should prioritize structure or let Clark dictate tempo. And the real kicker? Clark, ever the professional, stayed calm in public, but insiders say her frustration was palpable. She wanted freedom. She wanted instinct. She wanted chaos on the court, the kind that wins games. And the front office? They were finally ready to give it to her. Financial considerations played a huge role too. Releasing 8 contracts at once freed up millions in cap space. The Fever could now chase high IQ shooters, floor spacers, and players who could fit seamlessly into a fluid, free-flowing system built entirely around Clark. Think Iowa on steroids, as one insider joked. Every single move, every roster decision, now aligned with the singular mission: unleash Caitlin Clark and build a championship-caliber team around her. Fans had been begging for this for months. Let her cook, they shouted online. Stop forcing her off the ball. Stop choking her instincts. And the front office listened. Or at least, they finally acted. But the purge wasn't painless. Some players will land on new teams quickly. Others may never return to the league. And the media? Oh, they had a field day. Headlines screamed about chaos, rebellion, and a star player takeover. Analysts debated whether this was brilliant long-term strategy or a gamble that could backfire spectacularly. One thing is clear: the Indiana Fever are no longer playing it safe. The old guard is gone. The locker room hierarchy has been shattered. And for the first time in years, the spotlight is squarely on Caitlin Clark. The question now isn't just who's gone, it's can this bold, unprecedented move actually work? Or will it become a cautionary tale of a franchise betting everything on one superstar? And that, my friends, is just the beginning. Because as the dust settles, rumors of coaching shakeups, internal power struggles, and further roster adjustments are already swirling. Sources claim that the next chapter of this saga could be even messier, and trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next.
No one predicted them to go this far, especially without Caitlin Clark. Now, granted, they was projected to be, final contenders, but that was with the roster that they had. Obviously, they had a whole nother roster, and like I keep telling y'all, momentum was to keep.
So here's where it gets really messy. The roster purge wasn't just a decision, it was a full-blown shockwave that ripped through the WNBA like a Category 5 storm. Fans were scrambling, journalists were dialing every source they could find, and insiders? Well, they were spilling secrets like never before. Anonymous sources claim the front office had been quietly documenting frustrations for months, tracking minutes played, analyzing contract costs, and noting who was actually buying into the vision around Caitlin Clark. And apparently, the report read like a blockbuster exposé: resistance? Not tolerated. Insubordination? Expensive. Misfit? Goodbye. Leaked documents, that nobody officially confirmed, of course, suggest the decision was not impulsive. Every single player's performance, both on and off the court, was dissected. Attendance in practice, energy levels, interactions with Clark, even social media activity, everything was on the table. One source described it as an extreme compatibility test for survival in Indiana. Think Hunger Games, but basketball edition. And for the 8 players cut, they failed spectacularly. Natasha Howard, the veteran forward with championship experience, reportedly became a symbol of resistance. Insiders claim she questioned rotations, pushed back on coaching decisions, and, according to whispers, made it clear she didn't fit the Clark-centric vision. Bree Hall and Shea Petty, while talented, allegedly clashed with younger teammates over leadership dynamics, creating tension in the locker room. Lexi Hull, once a defensive anchor, apparently couldn't adapt to the new speed and style the front office demanded. And Sydney Colson, beloved in the locker room for humor and mentorship, but sources say fun doesn't pay the bills. Fans didn't hold back either. Social media exploded with speculation, outrage, and memes. One Twitter post read, 8 players gone. Indiana just hit the reset button on steroids. Hashtag Clark era. Another popular thread argued, if you're not Caitlin Clark compatible, you're gone. Simple as that. On Instagram, posts praising Clark's dominance flooded the feed, with thousands of comments dissecting every detail. Some were celebrating the bold move. Others were furious, accusing the front office of star worship gone too far. And let's be honest, both sides were right. Meanwhile, the press had a field day. Headlines screamed, Fever Purge, inside the 8-player mass exodus. Caitlin Clark takes over Indiana. What this means for the WNBA, genius or panic? The Fever's risky off-season gamble, leaked insider interviews, completely anonymous, of course, added more fuel. One supposed source said, management made it clear, if you don't fit the system, you're gone. Loyalty doesn't win championships. Adapt or leave. Another hinted at financial strategy. Clearing 8 contracts freed up millions for cap space. They're building around Clark smartly, and anyone who didn't buy in, out. And yes, this wasn't just about cutting costs or personalities. The reports claim lavish spending and mismanagement also played a role. Certain veterans allegedly demanded max salaries while underperforming, forcing management into impossible choices. One leaked memo supposedly said, "We're paying for past glory, not future impact." That ends now. Drama, controversy, and money, 3 ingredients for maximum viral attention. Public reaction wasn't limited to online chaos. Former players, analysts, and even talk shows jumped in. Panels debated endlessly whether this purge was brilliant foresight or reckless overreach. Opinions clashed. Some argued the move would finally let Clark thrive, giving her the freedom to dictate pace and play style. Others warned that betting everything on one superstar could collapse the franchise if things went wrong. You could almost feel the tension seeping out of TV screens. Even within the team, the fallout was massive. Sources claim remaining players were nervous, excited, and confused all at once. Young talent saw opportunity, finally, a chance to play in a system that prioritizes instinct, speed, and freedom. Veterans were cautious, aware that the culture shift was dramatic and that past hierarchies had been wiped away overnight. Practices reportedly became electric. Faster pace, less structured sets, constant movement. Mistakes happened, sure, but insiders say the energy was unlike anything the Fever have seen in years. Meanwhile, media outlets started connecting the dots beyond basketball. Sponsorship deals, merchandise sales, and national attention skyrocketed. Caitlin Clark had become more than a player. She was the face of the franchise, the league's marketing powerhouse, and now the central figure in one of the WNBA's most audacious moves. Every cut, every decision, every leaked rumor reinforced the narrative. This was her team, and anyone unwilling to adapt would be left behind. But it wasn't all rosy. Some analysts questioned the speed and extremity of the purge. 8 players in one night? Drastic. Desperate? Maybe. Necessary? That's the million-dollar question. Critics accused the Fever of overreacting and sending the wrong message about loyalty. But in the eyes of the front office, this wasn't about loyalty, it was about creating a team that could compete for championships around their superstar. And as insiders repeatedly said, they made a choice, comfort or chaos. They chose chaos. By the end of it, the public was hooked. Fans debated endlessly online. News outlets scrambled for updates. Even casual viewers who never followed Indiana Fever basketball were suddenly invested. Why? Because this wasn't just a roster decision. This was a story about power, money, ego, and one superstar reshaping an entire franchise. 8 cuts, millions in cap space, and a locker room completely redefined. And just when you thought it couldn't get juicier, the fallout was only beginning.
Running this off ball and doing all these different experiments. Without momentum, I don't believe they would have made it as far. I believe they was playing meaningful basketball just due to the amount of injuries that the team took, and it kind of motivated them. They said it in their exit interview. The bench power pretty much motivated them and gave them the energy they need to prolong and get through a bunch of them long stretches.
Now, let's talk about the aftermath, the real chaos behind the headlines. The moment news broke that 8 Indiana Fever players were cut, the WNBA world went absolutely ballistic. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #FeverPurge and #ClarkEra were trending within minutes. Fans, analysts, and even casual viewers were glued to their screens, debating every name, every strategy, every supposed reason behind the mass exodus. The conversation wasn't just about basketball anymore, it was about power, control, and the future of a franchise that finally decided to play big or go home. Inside the Fever locker room, the energy was different. Some veterans were visibly shaken. After years of influence and leadership, they were suddenly reminded that in Indiana, loyalty only counts if it aligns with the superstar-driven vision. Young players, on the other hand, felt electrified. The opportunity to play in a fast-paced, freedom-first system was finally theirs. According to insiders, practices became like a live wire, players moving instinctively, making reads off Clark, reacting in real time, and feeding off her tempo. Mistakes happened, of course, but the pace, fluidity, and excitement were undeniable. And the coach? Stephanie White, the woman who had stubbornly held on to rigid sets and structured playbooks, found herself at a crossroads. The front office reportedly made it clear: adapt to Clark's style or risk being replaced. Sources claim management has quietly started evaluating potential replacements who would embrace a more modern, dynamic offensive identity. The message was crystal clear: Caitlin Clark is the future. If you can't build around her, you're out. The ripple effect didn't stop in Indiana. National media went into overdrive. ESPN panels, sports talk shows, and online comment sections debated non-stop. Was this a genius rebuild, or a reckless gamble that could backfire spectacularly? Headlines screamed, Clark era or organizational chaos. Inside Indiana's bold purge, 8 players gone, 1 superstar in charge. Is this the future of the WNBA? Genius move or dangerous overreach? Even imaginary, legal experts and analysts chimed in, speculating on potential consequences. Could disgruntled former players take action? Was this a PR nightmare waiting to happen? Hypothetical lawsuits, contract disputes, and public scrutiny suddenly became the hot topics, even if they were mostly conjecture. Every narrative was being explored, debated, and sensationalized, exactly how a viral story thrives. Financially, the move was just as shocking. By clearing 8 contracts in one night, the Fever unlocked millions in cap space, enough to sign players specifically tailored to Clark's style. According to leaks, management is targeting shooters, high IQ defenders, and versatile wings who can run the fast-paced system without hesitation. Every dollar now aligns with the vision: build a team around Clark and Boston, avoid long-term financial pitfalls, and maximize championship potential. In other words, this isn't just a roster purge, it's a calculated, high-stakes, financial maneuver with a basketball twist. The public reaction? Electric. Fans immediately started speculating about the next moves. Who would replace the veterans? Who could survive Clark's dominance and still contribute meaningfully? Some fans celebrated, calling it the boldest decision in franchise history. Others criticized the front office for bowing to star power and sending the wrong message about loyalty. And of course, online forums were filled with memes, hot takes, and dramatic countdowns to the next preseason. Viral, chaotic, and endlessly shareable, exactly what a story needs to dominate sports culture. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark herself became the focal point. Reports suggested that she quietly approved of the moves, liking posts, sharing subtle hints, and signaling that she's fully in control. Clark's star power had transformed the Fever from a small-market struggling team into a league-wide spectacle almost overnight. And that attention brought both opportunities and pressure. Every shot, every loss, every decision would now be magnified under the media microscope. The franchise had officially bet everything on her, and the stakes had never been higher. But here's where the real tension builds. This isn't just about Clark. Aaliyah Boston, the defensive anchor, also solidified her role as the franchise's backbone. Together, Clark and Boston form the foundation, around which the entire team must operate. Management has made it clear, every roster decision, every strategy, every dollar spent must reinforce their partnership. Miss the mark, and the purge could be remembered as either a legendary gamble or a catastrophic failure. And for Stephanie White, the future hangs by a thread. Adapt and evolve with Clark's vision, or become the next headline in the Indiana Fever story of dramatic exits. The whispers of potential coaching replacements are growing louder by the day. Insiders say, the system has changed. Either you embrace it, or you pack your bags. Drama, suspense, and high stakes, exactly what keeps viewers hooked and social media buzzing. As the WNBA world watches, one thing is undeniable: Indiana Fever basketball will never be the same. 8 players cut, millions in cap space freed, and a franchise completely reoriented around its superstar. The Caitlin Clark era has officially begun, and whether it leads to a dynasty or a cautionary tale, fans are riveted. Every move, every practice, every game now carries weight. The Fever are a team reborn, or a gamble on the edge of collapse. Only time will tell. One thing is certain, this story isn't fading. It's viral, it's dramatic, and it's setting the stage for an off-season that could reshape the WNBA entirely.
I'll play, and this is what I've been saying. We need to go back to the basics. And the basic is this style of play with Caitlin Clark, giving her the ball, let her play freely, openly, let her do what she do. No calling different sets going up the court, no doing none of this. Put players around Caitlin with that know how to obviously resets, know their responsibility, because Caitlin Clark said it hurts.
So, here's the question that everyone is asking right now. Did the Indiana Fever just make the boldest move in WNBA history, or did they gamble everything on one superstar and risk it all? 8 players gone, millions in cap space freed, and a franchise completely rewired around Caitlin Clark. The power shift is real, the stakes are sky high, and the drama, off the charts. Now, it's up to Clark, Boston, and the remaining team to prove that this Clark era isn't just hype. Will they dominate, or will the weight of expectations crush them? Fans are already debating, analysts are speculating, and social media is exploding. And you're part of this story too. Every like, comment, and share keeps the conversation alive, fuels the buzz, and turns this saga into the viral moment it's meant to be. So tell me in the comments, who do you think survives the Clark era? Which of the cut players will make a shocking comeback? And do you believe Indiana's bold gamble will pay off, or backfire spectacularly? Smash that like button, subscribe for all the behind-the-scenes drama, and hit the bell so you don't miss a single twist in this explosive story. The Caitlin Clark era is just beginning, and trust me, you won't want to blink.